In the last video, I broke down the individual drum channels. In this video, I'm going to break down the treatment to the drum subgroups and the main drum bus. First up is the bass drum. This is what it sounds like with the processing applied so far. Miko applied the Waves API 550 EQ emulator, which is a 3-band parametric EQ. You can get similar results using a built-in parametric EQ. I'm going to work from the bottom up here. Notice how the low and high bands are set to be treated like shelf boosts. First, a 2 decibel boost is being applied at 200 Hz. This thickens up the sound. Next, a massive 12 decibel cut is being applied to the mids at 800 Hz. And finally, a 9 decibel boost is being applied at 5 kHz. Also notice he's applied quite a bit of gain to the output, so you'll hear the treated track is much louder. Presumably, this was done during the mixing phase when he was balancing the various instruments. Here's what the EQ treatment sounds like out and then in. Before I go on, I need to mention I'm breaking this mix down systematically. Drums, bass, guitar, vocals, and then master bus treatments. Most of the time when making EQ adjustments, it's done with all the other tracks going on and knobs are moved back and forth until the instruments blend with each other. In fact, in his notes to me, Miko even commented that he uses the API 550A EQ as his balance tool to get the instruments to sit together in a balanced and pleasing way. And this goes for everything, not just the drums. Obviously, it's impossible to recreate the order of how he mixed this, but just keep that in mind. When you're mixing, you should constantly be focusing on getting the tracks to sound balanced with one another. And that requires a lot of rocking knobs back and forth throughout the whole process. Anyway, back to the snare drum. First, the same API 550A EQ is being applied, and again, with the high and low bands in shelving mode. No treatment is being applied to the lows. A 9 decibel cut is being applied at 800 Hz, and a 2 decibel boost is being applied at 5 kHz. You'll hear the affected snare sounds much quieter and a tad thinner due to the cuts in the mids. After the EQ, more 1176 style compression is being applied. Around 3 decibels is being taken off at a 4:1 ratio, again with a slow attack and fast release. A bunch of gain is being applied at the output stage, making the affected track quite a bit louder. For the hi-hat, first EQ is being applied with a low cut at 250 Hz. The hi-hat doesn't really offer any useful information below that range, at least for a mix like this, so it's getting cut out. After that, a high shelf boost is being applied at 5 kHz. This brightens up the sound of the hi-hat. I'll add the bands in one at a time. Then, the API EQ makes another appearance, this time scooping the lows all the way up at 400 Hz, which really is the mids, and then scooping the mids all the way up at 3 kHz, which really is the highs, and then boosting the highs at 10 kHz. This tightens the sound up more yet. As with the last video, I'll show you the treatments on the toms real quickly and then move on, as the toms don't make an appearance in the song. Compression is being applied with a slow attack and fast release, and then a specialty waves plugin, the CLA drums, is being applied with all the controls set flat and the knob set to toms. So moving on, the overheads have quite a bit of treatment being applied, starting with the FabFilter Pro Q doing a low cut at 150 Hz and then a high shelf boost at 5 kHz. Here's what they sound like. After that is the CLA drums plugin with all the controls set flat again, but this time the knob is set to overhead. You have to listen closely. This plugin applies a slight scoop to the mids and a boost to the highs. Next up is the Waves API compressor. It's worth mentioning that all of the compressors, at least for the most part, have the same controls: threshold, attack, release, ratio, and makeup gain. The difference has to do with the specific sounds and idiosyncrasies of the various units that are being emulated. To a large degree, though, it all comes down to those basic controls. Here, around 6 decibels is being taken off in gain reduction with an extremely fast attack and slow release at an infinity to 1 ratio, effectively making the compressor behave like a limiter. This plugin has an auto gain feature that's being utilized, which allows it to automatically set the makeup gain based on the gain reduction. And you'll see that's why the volume is matched, but you don't see any gain being applied on the knob. Finally, it's Miko's go-to API 550A EQ. Here, a shelf cut is being applied at 400 Hz, another cut at 3 kHz, and a small shelf boost is being applied at 7 kHz. This thins out the sound quite a bit, again, to leave more room in the mids and lows for the other instruments. On the room subgroup, the CLA drums plugin is being applied, again with all the controls set flat, this time with the knob set to room mode. The treatment here is very subtle. It applies a slight cut to the mids and a boost to the highs. The final treatment to the drums is being applied to the main drum group. It's the NLS, or Nonlinear Summing Channel Plugin by Waves. A lot of mixing engineers like applying this plugin to bus channels as it helps add warmth and harmonic depth to tracks that are more often than not recorded digitally and kept entirely in the digital realm. At the simplest level, the plugin is applying distortion. Most DAWs come with built-in saturation plugins. For Steinberg, it's the soft clipper. I think this treatment is pretty powerful, but in a subtle way. You'll have to listen closely at first, but once you hear it, it's pretty obvious. So far, we've applied quite a bit of processing to the individual drum tracks, to the drum subgroups, and to the drum group. Let's check out the before and after to hear what all the processing sounds like. I'll toggle back and forth with it out and then in. All right, that was a lot. And if you have to watch this video a couple of times, I get it. But brace yourself, there's still a lot more to cover. Next up is the bass guitar.